welcome to another episode of 10-Minute Tones. In this episode, we are not talking about an amp. We're talking about the new drive model that is in the Axe FX3. We're using the Axe FX3 this week, not the FM3, because we are going to mess around with the Klone Chiron, which is a Klon centaur. Not sure where Chiron came from. I'll probably look that up. It's probably obvious. But, so here we go. I'll start the timer. So this is going to be a little bit different. We're going to play around with, I think, a few different things that I want to try. The first goal I have would be to get kind of like a low gain, pushing, dirty amp kind of a thing. And then the other one would be, I've got a clean amp, and then I want to push it just a little bit, push it a lot. So higher gain. So we'll first go for like a lower gain, more of an output push, and then second thing we'll go for like more gain, and we'll just see how crazy it gets. Sorry, I didn't say that very well. I've waffled on for a minute. Let's explain what we've got already. I'm basically taking the tone that we got in the two-stone Jet 35 10-minute tones video. I copied that over into the Axe FX. In that video, I think I was using my Silver Sky. In this video, I'm using my Exotic. So I tweaked it a little bit, and it sounds like this. So that's the bass tone we've got. Maybe I should crank up the bass a little bit. Anyways, that's what we've got, and we're just gonna work with the Klon. So stock settings, I haven't changed it from this. I just put the Klon on there, and that gives us this. So already, I mean, that sounds pretty good. It's definitely, it sounds a lot like a fuzz to me. I think that makes sense because it's a germanium diode, as I understand it, which is like a clipping diode that is used in a lot of fuzzes, as I understand it. I'm not an expert. So again, bass amp tone. Okay, so let's do some of the high gain stuff first because that's kind of how we have the amp dialed in. What do I not like about this? You know, I'm gonna kind of stay on the neck pickup a lot, I think. I just feel like I want that to kind of pop. Maybe that's the next scene that we do though. Let's go for some higher gain stuff. Okay, let's just see. It sounds great. Let's see how crazy it gets. If we goose it all the way up, what do we get? So immediately that's a little too noisy for me, so let's back the treble down and see what we get. So with the gain all the way up and the treble all the way off, by the way, I should have prefaced at the beginning of the video, I've never used a real Klon pedal. I do not own one. I have been in the presence of one. I saw Matt Schofield live once, and he was showing us his pedal board. There was a Klon on there, into a 2-rock. That sounded majestic. Did not sound anything like this. We're doing something completely different at the moment. So I don't know really what to compare it to myself because I don't have a real Klon. That was the point of that. But this is usable for a completely different thing than I thought it would be. And in fact, this is maybe even still too bright if you bring the gain all the way up. But I guess now, let me put it in perspective. Our amp sounds like this. Okay, that's one extreme. So we'll just call this one gnarly. Boom. Less extreme, we'll call this one pushed. So we've got the same settings here. We'll put this on, actually we'll copy this to channel C. Copy channel A to channel C. Here we go. And there's something on B, which we'll get to hopefully. Maybe that's for bonus time because I keep yakking on. Okay, so scene 2 is on C. And what I want to do here is bring the gain all the way back. Let's bring the treble back a little bit. And I want to make the amp a little bit more gainy on its own. So let's bring up the overdrive here. Even more than that. Okay, so we've got that. So the situation here is we've got an amp that's it's a little bit more pushed, and so we're gonna kind of use our volume knob and our picking to get cleaner things. So like if I'm on a neck pickup, that's a cool like bluesy rhythm thing, and then if I go to the 4th position, I can back it off a little bit and okay, so that's cool, that's our bass. And we want to just push that a little bit. So here's our neck. And we're doing a solo and we just want a little bit more. Let's listen to the minimum amount of gain we can get from this thing. What do we do? A lot of that may be coming from the level itself. So let's bring this up maybe like 2, and we'll bring the level back and see what that does. Because we're using this as a boost and as a drive. It's hitting the front of the amp harder, and so since we're in a sweet spot where it'll break up, we're gonna get more distortion from the amp because of the input gain level. And so I'm trying to kind of isolate the gain from the pedal versus the amp here. So let's see if we can do that. It's definitely adding brightness, is what I'm hearing. When I kick it on, it's got a little bit more sparkle. even with the super, super low gain. So I could definitely see why people like that. I use the RCB, Esoteric RCB booster, and there goes my timer. Of course, I'm over time. You guys don't care, but it's the theme of the show, so that's what we're doing. I use the RCB booster for that all the time because I like when I push that AC20, it just gives it a little bit of extra energy, extra sparkle. So this is, I could definitely see this doing that. It's doing that thing really, really well. And we could even bring the gain back even more. All right, so very usable. I don't know, these are just my first thoughts. Literally, I have not played with this pedal, but for the thing I'm about to show you before recording this video, I promise. So it's pretty cool. I don't really love a fuzz, and it's like kind of in that territory, but I understand why people like it because it feels more like an amp. I don't know why it makes sense maybe in this digital world where you can just turn your amp all the way up, but that's beside the point. So one thing that I thought was interesting when I was reading about the Klon, because again, don't have one, don't really know much about it, there's a lot of information out there. On the Wikipedia page, there's a quote about it being an ultimate amp in the box kind of pedal, and I thought, well, let's test that to the maximum. So this, what you're looking at, is straight into the Klon, into the same cab settings, and into the same reverb. We've turned off the compressor, we've turned off the amp, and that gives us something like this. Maybe that's a little bright. No, it's not the brightest, it's just missing a little bit of bottom end. Maybe, let's play with this. Copy channel A to channel B. Channel B, let me bring in back some of that low that I cut out in the cab. Let's see what this does. Is that usable? I don't know. Does it sound terrible? No. Definitely, this could be a, like, if you wanted a specific flavor of a lead tone for like a blues thing, you could definitely use this. Jazz there. Anyways, that's it for this episode of 10-Minute Tones. If you've made it this far in the video, I really, really do appreciate it. Let me know if you have a Klon, if you have a Klon and you have an Axe-Fx and you've compared them. I would love to hear about that. Maybe I'll try to buy a clone of a Klon, probably not a real one, and compare it. I actually was thinking that the follow-on video to this should be comparing the Klone Chiron in the fractal to the Minotaur, which is the model of a Klon Centaur in the Helix. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see that versus video. I know the internet loves a versus video, so maybe that would be cool. I'm interested in hearing the difference anyways, just to know what's different. So yeah, sorry for waffling on. This has been 10 Minute Tones. My name's Brad, and remember, if it sounds good, it is good.